Welcome back to the shit show. I'm sure you know why it's called that. And yeah, that's why we're late because it was a shitty beginning. Real quick, everybody, hang tight. Lord, guide my words tonight. Help us do your will now and forever. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Um, we're just going to have some fun today. We're going to have Tom on. We're just going to talk some shit. And it's not like there's not anything interesting to watch or talk about today, like maybe the beginnings of World War III. Not real sure yet. But
Yeah, that
my
doesn't
name,
happen to anybody.
yeah, my name is Stax. Rumble, YouTube, X. This is Tom, Restore Christendom. Uh, Rumble, YouTube, X. Anywhere else, Tom?
No, that's it. Rumble, YouTube, and X.
All right, Drew.
On X Shit Show co-host, Instagram Luminary Mixdown.
Yeah. Listen to this. Me, Cameron's going to listen while he's in the shower. I don't know how to feel about that.
I'm feeling a little tingly in my bathing suit area.
Just don't go touching yourself too much.
Yeah,
in
no,
there.
I can't do that. That would be a mortal sin. So,
All right. Well, I mean, well, first of all, we need an update. How's the baby, Tom? How's things going?
the baby is excellent. Mom is doing great. Um, I really, I don't. Neither of us really have much to complain about right now. She's pretty quiet, pretty calm baby. Not very fussy, unless she wants to eat. But yeah, she's perfectly healthy. Mom is doing really well. So yeah, and then
Awesome.
and I will absolutely say again, all the people at our parish at the church have been so wonderful in feeding us and making sure we're taken care of in this time. So yeah, that's awesome.
I was just going to say hi to Emily, and she popped right up in the comments.
Oh yeah, you should be in the
Hi,
chat.
Emily. Um, no, that's awesome though, dude. For real. It makes me remember back to whenever, because my kids ain't that big now, but when they're babies and you bring them home, there's something special about then that I mean, for me anyway, remembering back, it's like, holy shit, it's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. This is real now. It's not just a bump
Yeah.
in the belly. This is a real thing. This is a lifelong thing
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. My sister, she's a real jerk, but she was like, I can't believe somebody's letting you have a kid to take care of.
Ouch.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, I don't blame her. It's not. I don't think any of us are truly prepared. Which
No,
is, I often say that to the young dudes. They're like, this world, money. They don't have a house, and I'm always like, listen, it'll fall in place. Just do it. Like just, like no one's ever really like quote unquote prepared. Like if you think you're gonna have a savings and it's gonna be this certain amount, and then you're good, you're never really gonna reach the goal. You just got to get in there and get after it.
yeah.
Yeah, amen to that.
I
Drew, you're go ahead,
I
Tom.
was
Go
just
ahead.
gonna say I just yeah I can't believe anybody let me have a baby. To be honest with you, but it's like I can just have one of these. Nobody's gonna tell me. Like, they regulate everything else in my life, but I can just have this. Okay.
Up though. I mean, there's still some semblance of freedom left, where you don't have to get a license yet to have a
Yeah.
kid.
Well, it's funny because I live in Illinois, and so here's just a funny story that kind of goes with this. So I live in Illinois. I went out yesterday, yeah, and bought a new shotgun. I want a new over under shotgun for duck hunting, stuff like that. Um, so I went out yesterday and I got one, and it's Illinois. So I had to show my FOID card. You know what I mean? And then they
Yeah.
got to run a background check, which the guy says usually takes 2 to 4 days. Um, and then you can pick up your gun. So the guy puts my information in. He's like, "Oh, your background came clean already." I'm like, "Oh, sweet." So I can just take my gun home. No, no, you still have to wait 4 days. You still can't take it till Saturday on an
Why?
over under shotgun. This isn't a pistol. This isn't a. It's the law in Illinois.
It's
Oh,
called the cooling period. They have a 10
Yeah,
day wait now in New York in case somebody's like buying it because they're pissed off or annoyed or they're thinking of going to
there's
do
plenty other
something
guns on
different.
that wall I could have bought if I was pissed off at somebody that's not an over under shotgun. You know, I mean, like certain guns should just be exempt from these stupid things. But
It's liberal logic. It doesn't make sense.
yeah, yeah. But anyway, but yeah. So to buy an cheap over under shotgun, I gotta have all this paperwork already done and have my card, and then wait 4 days. But I can just spit out a baby, like you know what I mean?
yeah. gun laws is one. We just had a guest last week about. He was like a pure gun tuber, and he's actually a really solid guy. I was surprised he said, yeah, he would come on. Quite a big following on YouTube. Um, but I mean, we were talking about the gun law stuff, and it's so backwards and ridiculous that like it what obviously in my opinion anyway, the goal is not anything other than control, chip away at it a little bit at a time, but there's no logical sense in the process really at all. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things, not to go off on any tangents about gun stuff because we did that last week, but the whole thing just really doesn't make any sense at all. I don't
No.
get it. I don't, like, listen, we were talking about, like, you make people that are going to listen to the laws jump through all these hoops. Meanwhile, the real problem that you're quote unquote worried about is that people that aren't supposed to have them are going to get them. And I'm here to tell you that, like, that's going to happen a whole lot faster than your background check. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so dumb. Like, if they're going to get them if they want them, and making somebody that can have them wait days or months or however. I know it's weird in different states, but it's just no logic to it. Like, I'm going to go ask for permission to own a weapon, and then that's going to stop somebody else from committing a crime. That's
Right.
just crazy to me.
It's feel good logic. It makes the politicians and the people who are ignorant to firearms in general feel good about it. Oh, there's a 10-day wait. Oh, there's all these layers and all these things in place, and it feels good. But in reality, it doesn't curb bad behavior. It doesn't curb criminal behavior. It doesn't. It hinders the peaceable citizens who don't have any malicious intent and just want to exercise their rights 99.99% of the time, and maybe 0.00.1% it may slow a criminal down. If and I'm pretty much giving them a lot by even saying that much. And it's just, we already know behind closed doors it's about control, minimize private gun ownership, criminalize decent people.
Yeah.
That's just the logic, even though they don't come out and say it.
And then on top of that, so now you've got your 4-day waiting period and all your hoops you had to jump through to get your gun. Now, since it's March, also I've got to renew my hunting and fishing license right now. So they're going to then, and it's not just a hunting and fishing license. No, I got to get the trout stamp to go with the fishing license. I got to get a federal waterfowl stamp, a state waterfowl stamp, a state habitat stamp, a specific area stamp for wherever I'm going to kill these. You know what I mean? Like, it adds up. To get a couple bucks worth of meat, you got to spend $150. It's ridiculous.
It's all to discourage you and people like you from exercising your rights and doing what you want to do. It's all about discouraging you, setting the bar high. All these costs. Who's got all this money to lay out before I can actually go do what I want to do?
Well, and it's also, I think, designed to get people more reliant on the system, because, like, if I've got to spend $200 to kill a couple ducks and a deer, like, I may as well just go buy the meat at the store. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
And that whole nonsense about, it's going to take 2 to 4 days to do a background check. No, that's instant. That's instant. It takes moments to do it. Your system is requiring you to wait that long. You're slow walking the process on purpose. And it's, California, New York is even far worse than that. But it's all nonsense. It's instant. Everything's digital. It's not going to take them 4 days to find out.
Especially since I already have a FOID card. They already ran my background. You know what I mean? Like the guy said, he entered my information and it instantly came back approved. So it's not like they waited 4 days. No, it's all approved and ready to go. I just got to go back on Saturday and pick it up. It's even paid for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
that's
just one of those things, dude, where it's I don't know. Like, my uncle is I mean, here's the thing. You get the flip side of that too, where it's usually a boomer generation type person where they feel empowered that they got the permission. Have you ever come across that where it's like,
oh, absolutely,
like now they're entitled to own it because they got the permission? It goes along with NFA items and concealed carry permits and all these. There's this weird, I'm trying to think of the word, but there's this weird entitlement, and like they're proud of it. Like, like,
my government trusts me. Look at this.
Yeah, like, I passed a background check, and so that means that look at me now, and I'm just like, I don't know, I don't get this. I don't quite understand it. Like I get being legal like that because you don't want to get in trouble, but
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just one of those things. My uncle has been going through some stuff too, and he gets as time goes on, these things tend to cost more and take longer, and then there's all kinds of other problems. But they always say that like you're paying those fees to the state because they're going to, well, not particularly like FOID card or anything like that, but when it comes to the hunting licenses, so that the game wardens can get paid and so that they can get money together for the fish that they stock and all this stuff. And that's even reflective like in Pennsylvania here where they were at the end of the month we're going to go trout fishing up at my uncle's place where they stock. They just stocked last weekend and they cut the number of fish in half.
Yeah.
Like it's just so what I mean, like and there's the entitlement where like we pay all this money to give him permission to go hunt on our own property so we don't get into trouble because that money is supposed to go towards these things that they're now cutting in half. And
Right. But
then
they didn't cut in half the price of that trout stamp though. That's still the same price.
no, no,
Yeah.
that's what I was saying, and I was telling Drew about this earlier actually, but um, there's a lot of people that don't quite get what's happening, and I'm like, there's a pattern here, Uncle. I'm not gonna leave his name out of it, but like, there's a pattern here where like things are costing more and you're getting less, and it's
Yep.
not just fish; it's like everything, you know.
Yeah. And it's
So
not just at the supermarket either. It's in everything. It's in your fishing license, in everything in life. The government's doing the same thing the corporations are doing. They're charging you the same and giving you less.
yes, yes, shrinkflation,
Yes.
Uncle Drew. That is not right at all. Subliminal.
It's Uncle Tiny Hat. Okay.
Yeah, how dare you? But anyway, see, like when we get off on when we start talking anything about firearms, we'll go off on tangents. I'll
Yeah.
go all
Yeah.
the way sideways. Um, I am. Did Let me ask you this: in Illinois, have you seen a difference in gas prices recently, just
They're
over
going
the
back
last
up
day?
again. Yeah. Yeah. They're going back up again.
Yeah,
They're up about 20 cents, I think.
yeah. I think it went up around 30 to 40 cent here in Pennsylvania. Drew, have you seen huge jumps overnight?
We stay high where I'm at. When everybody else was getting lower deals, we maybe got 5 cents, 10 cents less. It hasn't gone up since this whole, potential of war and everything that's going on in the last like week and a half. People are talking about, oh, the gas is going to go up a little bit, even though supposedly we have plenty of our own here. I haven't seen in the last couple of days. I haven't noticed anything critical, but we never went really low. We never really got that reduction that a lot of states got. So we just stay high.
Yeah. The problem with oil and gas cost is, oil prices aren't based off of supply and demand like they used to be. Everything's based on speculation markets now. So investors speculate, oh, war in Iran, they're saying they're shutting down the Strait of Hormuz or whatever you call that.
Yep.
So we're going to speculation. Oh, oil's going to be a lot more scarce, so price goes up. So even though nothing has happened yet, the price goes up because of the speculation.
It's an excuse to price gouge.
Yes, it's exactly what it is. But they
Let
call
me
it speculative markets now instead.
let me add this, and feel free to say whatever you want. But I have learned that, and I'm going to say this way on purpose for this reason. Iran, if you say that on YouTube, they shadow ban your video automatically.
Oh,
So
okay.
I have thought maybe we could say Persia,
Persia,
um,
perfect. I'm
Persia.
glad it's called Persia. It's historically Persia. So yeah.
It's something that's going around. I got it from on pretty good authority from somebody with a big channel that like
Okay.
if you say that, it's automatic. Like they'll throw it into the back room and not let nobody see it. They don't want you talking about it. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, feel free, say whatever you want. I'm just throwing it out there, informational, like whatever. But I was bringing that up because all the reasons you just said, the way that things are going, like I would make sure your tanks are filled up as much as possible because from what I'm hearing, especially gas, it's going to go quickly high. Like today it was 30, 40 cent. Tomorrow it might be another 30, 40 cent or dollar or something like that. I was considering getting a 55 gallon fuel drum and just filling that fucker up just in case. But what I'm getting to is that with this problem in Persia, there's going to be an enormous amount of shortages on a lot of things coming up. And I don't know if anybody else has heard this. Have you heard that before yet, Tom?
What's that?
Shortages, like all kinds of different shortages. Have
I,
you
I've
heard?
heard I've heard rumors, but I don't. You know what I mean? Like I haven't heard anything official.
Yeah.
Uh, no, nobody that I trust has been like, yeah, this is definitely going to happen. But yeah, there's whenever things are going on, like it's going on over there right now, there's always speculation of shortages of everything.
Yeah.
Because it's wartime. The government needs aluminum. The government needs whatever ammunition.
Yeah.
There's going to be shortages on everything. Steel, aluminum, rubber, fuel. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The military runs on all that stuff.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the ammunition thing because I was going to make that point. I said this in the last show. It's just worth saying again, but the nitrous cellulose that's made overseas, along with lead, which is primarily made in China, and there was a munitions facility in Tennessee that blew up last year. So there's a huge indicator that also ammunition and things associated with it, like you said. I have a giant pile of scrap copper wire. It's probably, I don't know, 700 pounds.
Yeah, no, you're like,
Of,
of course you do.
I'm hanging on to it because I expect that it's going to probably go up pretty high.
Yeah.
There's going to be a demand for it. I was just curious because the reason why I asked that question and these questions at all was because I need to know because I pay attention to this stuff probably more closely than a lot of other people. But I needed to know like what's out there for people that don't. Like what are people hearing, which is why I'm asking you. So,
Well,
Drew, did you go
no,
ahead?
I'll put it this way. I'm probably going out this weekend and buying a new crossbow.
Mm.
Because if push comes to shove, and ammo comes scarce, and I need to feed my family, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not a purist bow hunter. So I'm going to go get a compound bow because I don't care about any of that shit. I'm trying to feed a family. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
not trying to prove I'm a tough guy. I'm not trying to do it for sport. I'm trying to feed a family. So yes, the combination of Illinois got like a 5-day rifle hunting season, and the fact that I'm expecting ammo to become scarce, I'm just going to switch and I'm going to get a crossbow, and I'm just going to shoot some deer with a crossbow.
Crossbows are great. I like crossbows. I got 2 of them. They're pretty cool. And even the new ones, like the newest editions that they make now, they're smaller, they're faster, they're super cool. I mean,
Yeah.
the only problem really is like they're priced up there with firearms now, with the really good ones, but still,
Yeah.
they're still really cool. Like if
But again,
you,
like a good firearm, you buy it once. You know what I mean? You
yeah,
get a decent one, you buy it once. So I have no problem spending money on something if it's a buy it once and have it till I die. You know what I mean?
yep,
What I
yep,
hate is spending moderate amounts of money, like that $200 to $300 range, and then buying it 4 times between now. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You ever heard
Like,
that
I'll just,
saying? You ever heard the saying "buy once, cry once"?
yep.
So
I,
like
I
buy
live by that.
premium,
So.
spend what you don't want to spend, just rip the Band-Aid off, and
Yep.
that'll be the end
You
of it.
buy it once,
Yeah,
and it
5,
doesn't
10
just
years
go
down the
for
road, you won't regret it.
yeah, it doesn't just go for like firearms and crossbow. I mean, I've got
Everything.
like outdoor gear, tents, and like down jackets and things that I've had for 20 years now that have been mountaineering for decades, like, and are still well. I'll have them for the rest of my life. And yes, it was very expensive for a tent or a coat or a backpack, but I'm still using that same one here at 46 years old that I used at 23. You know?
And you can leave it to your kids, and they'll get use out of it too.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the way I'm looking at it. Like, I mean, the stuff that I use now, I'm really hoping that the kids are going to want whenever they're older to go do whatever they're going to go do with. Um, Tom, I need to ask you, how do you feel about this conflict in Persia? Like, what are you thinking about it? You don't really care; it's not on the radar, or do you think it's a bigger potential problem for the citizens of the U.S.?
I don't really pay too much attention to it because I'm not. I don't know, man. It just doesn't affect me at this point. We're pretty fortunate here in America that if World War III were to break out from this, World War III is going to be fought in Europe. You know what I mean? Like nobody comes and fights in America. It's just not. It's not possible. It's not feasible. It's not smart. So, and I don't live on or near a missile range or base where they fly B-2 bombers out of. So I'm not. It doesn't affect me. You know what I mean? But I don't think this is going to turn. I think this is going to turn out to be a big nothing burger. To be honest with you, my prediction is this is going to go on for another week, maybe, and we're just going to stop. I don't know.
What about boots on the ground over there? You think they're going to
I don't.
actually put troops in?
I don't see that happening. Um, I don't see U.S. troops hitting the ground. Israel might do something that dumb, but I don't see U.S. boots hitting the ground. Not in other than a couple special ops units. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I don't
Yeah.
count. Like unless we got thousands of guys from regular infantry on the ground, like you know what I mean. Unless we have one, you have one regular standard infantryman on the ground. I'll call it boots on the ground. But we got a couple operations happening with Delta and SEALs and whatever. Like that doesn't count. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These guys do this
I hear
every
you.
day all over the world. But that doesn't
I
count.
hear you. There's so much, and this is part of the problem. Really, is there's so much misinformation, and now AI, which I called this a long time ago, but like AI is the problem. AI is in itself a censorship tool in the way that you don't know what's real anymore. Like you don't, like you see things like there's videos of supposed missile strikes that every person thinks it's AI, whether it's in Persia or Israel or wherever. You just don't really know. So like there's a lot of really crazy things, but I'm asking that again because you're sort of my barometer for because I realize I pay attention more than most other people when it comes to this stuff because I'm looking at it like it's not going to affect us, say, like troops on the ground on our front porch or anything, but resources, like,
Mhm.
how scarce and how expensive they become. And that can be a potential problem. So, like, not that I think that this would happen, but the biggest problem is my daughter with a heart condition and medications, because that's usually supply chains is usually sort of a big deal whenever shit like this pops off. So, like I said, it's just one of those things I usually like to just ask certain people what they think, what they see, um, and just kind of gauge other people's reactions. Um, what I'm seeing from over there, though, is that the biggest problem is that China and Russia, and we're only talking about this because it's such a big deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's everywhere, and I've been talking, and it's just one of those things. But China and Russia helping them, um, satellites showing
Yeah.
Iran where to go, what to do. So I don't know, man. It's just one of those things, and we're just kind of talking here. It's not like we have to stay on this, um, but it's just one of those things where I like to try and just get a gauge from somebody else about what it is that's going on.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I am definitely preparing for scarcity of resources. Um,
Yeah.
Again, like I said, I got a new shotgun. I've loaded up on enough boxes of bird shot to feed off of, to hunt meals for a while. Um, I've gotten I know it's not ideal, but it doesn't bother me. But I've gotten like 65 grain um, deer ammo for my AR. 223, but the bigger game loads. Um, and I can get around to places where I can do this stuff with a gasoline shortage, meaning other forms of transportation. So like I'm doing what I can to make sure that I can provide for my family in a say we hit a year of just like you're on your own. You know what I mean?
Is it like in New York? Does anybody have any worries about any of this stuff yet?
Nobody that I personally know has made any kind of big deal. I'm going to say a lot of people that I know here, even people who are awakened to a lot of the bullshit, are not really. It's the same mentality. Like, oh, it's not affecting us. So much more would have to happen before it does. But the only thing that I think is a primary concern, and I've seen some articles on Facebook being floated around that ever since the new mayor came in, and now with this what's going on in Persia, that there's a lot more attacks and violence, and obviously if there's any kind of sleeper cell domestic terrorism happening, guess where the first place they're going to try to pull some shit? It ain't going to be like West Bubblefuck, somewhere, in some small town nobody's heard of. It's going to be here in the city. So that's like a concern where if this regime, this tyrannical regime that what does it say? I hear NYC was sending troops to fight for Persia.
Yeah. Mondami sending the backups for the
yeah, I think NYC would lose that fight. I could see a bunch of like blue-haired, septum-piercing guys like coming off the Chinook with fucking pink-colored camo and all that other kind of stuff. But that's really the concern, is like, maybe some attacks of violence and like kind of like a last-ditch effort of this, tyrannical regime trying to pull some shit with a sleeper cell, and people are kind of worried about that, which is like kind of, it's kind of like, after 9/11 happened 10, 15 years later, everybody forgets. Like, people forget shit that happens, and or the generation who lived through it gets phased out just from, age, and, the younger generation coming up where it's just a story they heard. And now they're the dominant generation of people in the population. So people don't realize, or think, it's not going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. And that's kind of a big attitude that I see from a lot of people out here. Other than maybe like a terrorist attack, a targeted attack that, we've been known to have several here in this city. So other than that, no, nobody really thinking about supplies and, resources and, shortages, and everybody here, the mentality is generally like, oh, they won't believe it till it happens, till they wake up to it and they go to the store and there's like one last loaf of bread and then you got to like fight with somebody over it. That's when they'll realize, oh, wow, like this is actually happening.
Yeah. In big cities, especially like New York, you almost have to believe, you almost have to think that way. This is like people in New York think that the supermarket can never not get a resupply. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because if they ever admitted to themselves or thought to themselves, wow, that there may come a time where there's no trucks getting in and out of the city, then they're going to realize, like, crap, you can't live in this place. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a terrifying thought. Let me tell you this.
Yeah.
The Hurricane Sandy, I think it was like 2012, 2013, major storm. Supplies coming into New York City, whether it was through the docks or being trucked in, slowed down. There were huge, big grocery stores that were shut down for like 2 weeks, closed for business. I was out with my mother and my aunt one day. This is like a week into it, and everything is shortage. Ice was shortage. Like, people were trying to get ice to put in their refrigerators to keep the food that they had from spoiling, because power was out on a massive scale going after a week, 2 weeks. And talking middle of the day, 1:00 in the afternoon, we're online at a store that has an ice machine that's actually generating ice. They're charging a shit ton of money for it. You got to wait online. And I hear, there's people making comments as they walk by. There was one guy who walked by. He was probably in his late 20s, early 30s, and he was walking his pit bull. He looked like a guy who would, possibly be a troublemaker in, a given situation. And he's walking by and he's all mad. He's all disgruntled. And he's like, if this shit goes on any longer, I'm going to fucking kill somebody. I'm going to hurt somebody. And here I am online with two women, my mother and my aunt. And this guy's walking by all upset that he can't charge his cell phone and he can't buy food and he can't do all these other things after a week. And I'm like, okay, the violence is like, we're ready. I saw somebody get pistol whipped at a gas station while police were at the gas station. 45 minutes, an hour to wait to get a gallon of gas because you're limited on how much gas they would sell you.
Yep.
People pulling out guns and pistol whipping the guy in front of them because he thought he cut him in line, and then cops drawing their guns. And like, this is only a week, 2 weeks, where the rest of the country is okay. This is isolated to where the storm hit.
Right.
And this is the level of shit we're getting into. How do you forget this?
And this is only delayed shipments. This isn't the shipments have stopped. Exactly. There's still some stuff coming in. Like, that's what I mean. Like, no, you can't, like, the cities are, like, I don't know. You know where terrorists don't attack? Little villages around here with like, terrorists don't attack little villages around here with 400 people or less in them. You know what I mean? Like,
and those little areas with the 400 or less people, have the most guns.
Yeah, and they all know each other, and they all help each other out. Like you don't got to worry about your neighbor turning on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah. It's
it's
a
a little
more tight
different.
knit community than in the city where the guy living next to you for 10 years will kill you for a pack of ramen noodle if he's got the chance in a panicked situation because they didn't prepare.
Yeah, no, the worst I'm gonna have to deal with in these situations is like, oh, but I got a couple fillets of whatever fish, and you've got a little bit of fucking deer meat. You want to swap? I'm tired of eating fish. You're probably tired of eating. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff we do around here.
The barter system is a very powerful tool.
Yeah,
They were boring Cubertimo. He fell asleep. But anyway, um, the there's a bigger picture here, and that's what I was kind of going to lead this into to see if anybody had any thoughts on it. But um, have you guys heard of the Greater Israel Project? I mean, I think Tom probably knows what that is.
I've
Drew, do
it
you know what that
sounds
is?
it sounds like I've heard that title floated, but I can't really say like exactly what it entails. No.
Well, they have a quote unquote plan. There's actually Israeli soldiers that have patches on them that show this. And what it is them expanding their borders into Iran, Iraq, Syria, Libya, Lebanon, and Saudi Arabia. It's actually massive. Um, and back in the day, this is part of the reason why it was suggested that they were going to go into, I want to say it's Colonel, I'm blanking on the name. It's not McGregor, but there was a colonel that went on television and said, when we went into Iraq, we said, what are we going there for? And he was like, I don't know. And then talked to that same guy the following day, and he says, well, it turns out we have a plan to go into 8 more countries. And this plan has been unfolding since then. And this is sort of the final piece for Israel to take over all of these countries and expand their borders.
yeah, and they don't need all of the countries. They need a part of Iran. They need
Right,
they need all of some countries, part of Egypt, pretty much all of Jordan, most of Syria, a little sliver. But yes, for the biblical area that was promised to Abraham, it's much larger than the Israel that is today. Yes, and their goal is to take all of that land.
Let me
Has
see
been
if I can
since the
bring it up.
60s.
I'm going to see if I can find it.
Yeah, just
But
Google
yeah,
Greater Israel Project. The map
I'm
comes
on
right.
it.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, I bring that up because most people don't know what it is.
Yeah,
And
and these happen to be all the same countries that we seem to be attacking and destabilizing, and
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, that's what I'm kind of getting at. Oh, okay, here, hold on. I'm going to bring it up. This is why this is the shit show, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, in essence, because they're talking about how there's nobody in the government that can explain what we're doing there. I mean,
Yeah.
that's literal. Like that, nobody in the government can explain what we're doing there, and that's fascinating to me. That they don't even have the um, story, because at least whenever like Bush and all them were in office, they made shit up, right? We were in weapons of mass destruction, and we have to go there so they don't come here and all this shit. Drew, can you see that?
Yes, I can.
So the Greater Israel Project.
Yeah, so pretty much all of Syria, most of Iraq, tiny piece of Iran, some of Egypt, chunk of Saudi Arabia. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, like you said, about half of Iraq, almost all of Syria, parts of Egypt, a whole big
all of
chunk of
Jordan.
Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
Even
all of Jordan.
little piece
Yeah.
of Turkey looks affected as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
little piece of Turkey is also affected.
Yep,
Yep.
right there. Yep. And that's what I'm getting at more or less, is that this is the reason. Like, if you don't know, it's not about anything else. Um, because there's news reporters and people that are going to the government saying, "Well, why are we doing this again?" And they're all like, "I don't know." Literally, we did it
Some
for
people are even
Israel.
saying, "Well, Israel needs us to do this."
That's what I was
I've
just
heard
saying.
that.
Like they're saying it out loud that like
Yeah.
Israel kind of forced our hand into this.
Right. Like, who's
Um,
the superpower here? Us or Israel? Like, how did they force our hand?
I mean, who's pulling the strings is really what it boils down to, right? I
Let,
Yeah.
mean, it's
let me ask you.
obvious.
Let me ask you a question. Besides all this deeper political hidden agenda, from what I've seen, even in New York, the Persian population and the people over there and over here all seem to be unilaterally rejoicing from getting out from under the tyrannical regime of the Ayatollah, whatever you call them, and the crazy, the Sharia law and all the, the killings of civilians. Like it was really a place, where if I guess if you were gonna start some shit and go over and try to overthrow and install a new regime, all the cards were aligned. How do you guys feel about that? Or you think that's a lot of over speculation?
Need a
Uh,
patch. This
yeah.
I just want to show you real quick. This is the patch on an Israeli uniform.
Yep. So
Um,
what I will say to your question there, Drew, is so Iran. The funny thing is, I know.
Like, wait, Tom,
Um,
I just want to make one point. Like, supposedly there was a woman there who didn't have her hijab on correctly, and the hijab police killed her for that.
yeah,
And that's like a common thing. So that's the kind of shit that it makes me be like, all right, well, yeah, wipe them out anyway and put a
yeah. No,
new
there should be
government.
no big, powerful Muslim countries like that. And I will say, like, we are. I there's propaganda and there's what's really happening on the ground, and we are dealing with
thank you.
Iran pretty easily right now, to be honest. Just looking at legitimate, like, what's going on. Like, we're flying 70-year-old B-52 Stratofortresses over Iran right now, which means we have decimated their air their surface to air attacks. Like, the only reason we'd be flying those things over and dropping bombs is because they have no way to shoot them down. They're big, they're slow, it's got the radar cross section of a barn. The only reason you fly those over Iran is because, like, you've decimated their radar and their
Air defense.
their air defense technology. Yeah. So, with that being said, Iran is only destroyed so much because, as America, we are so strong. To be honest, like, you know what I mean? No bullshit. No, like, sucking the dick of America. But, like, the reason why Americans do without is because we have this military. You know what I mean? Like, they better be good. The reason why we're so far in debt and we don't have shit that other countries have is because of this military. So, let them exercise it every once in a while, I guess. But no, having a super powerful Muslim nation is not a good thing. So that's the one side of the coin where I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I can kind of accept this because Muslims should not have that kind of power, like, because they will use it eventually to wipe out Christians, or everybody who's not Muslim at that. You know what I mean?
So let me get this in real quick here. So propaganda is what you're seeing when you see people rejoicing.
Yeah.
They're showing you that for a reason. They want you to think that this is definitely the right thing to do. That's not to say that people aren't rejoicing. What I'm
Right.
saying is they're showing you what they want you to see. And that part's important. That you have to understand that, like, what you see, how you see it, when you see it is part of the puzzle of how they get people to be okay with this, because you ultimately, regardless, at some point the American populace has to be okay with it on some level, or it will have tremendous blowbacks. And it's not right away. They'll do whatever they're going to do, and then tremendous blowbacks will come from it. So they have to sell it to you. You have to accept it. And you have to think about this as perspective. We like to think that we're in this democracy or republic, and it's good for us because that's what we want. The other perspective is that they don't. They don't want this. They don't want our democracy. They don't want women in bathing suits or whatever. The majority of them don't want it. So, like, what you can't really say, let's Americanize Iran and not expect problems, because that's not what's going to happen. Now, keeping their power in check is probably a really good idea. Like, not letting them have nukes is probably a pretty good
Yeah.
idea.
And also not
Um,
letting them stockpile as many weapons as we let them stockpile up to this point. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
And the
mean,
worst
here,
case
let me.
scenario.
Here's what I was getting to is that
Yeah, go ahead.
they have a tremendous amount of drones. They can make 300 drones a day in these fucking bunkers underground. The pushback is not going to be quite like, we can roll over them to an extent, but then we're in an all-out war with the air, which is going to require more and more. And they're doing this. The reason why they're really doing this is because Israel has something called the Samson option, meaning
Yeah.
that, Drew, let me ask you, have you ever heard that before, Samson option, Drew?
No.
Okay, Samson option means if we go down, everybody goes down. They have nuclear weapons that they are not supposed to have. The reason why Kennedy was killed was because he tried to make them stop. That's the reason why Kennedy was killed. He told them no. He knew the CIA was working with them. He knew what was going on, and that's why Kennedy was killed because he told them no. He came out and was like, "We can't have this." They have a lot of nuclear weapons, and most of them are in submarines out in the ocean. And if it seems like they're going to lose at any point, the Samson option means they kill everybody, even if it includes their own people, which is the Samson option was allegedly used on October 7th so that they could provoke more of this. It's propaganda, and they want you to believe that you're freeing people. And they also killed their highest religious figure there. Like they're when they didn't kill, they killed the I'm trying to remember the name, Alameni or something along those lines. But it would be like if somebody bombed the Vatican. Okay, like that's what this is to
Yeah.
them. So it's like you have to understand that what we perceive, what we want to do, is not what they want. So when you see things like that, they're cheering in the streets. Maybe, but realize that they want you to see that because you have to be okay with it. And what just happened was that the American military and the American people are now being forced into a war that nobody really wanted. And the real reason why they probably did it is because they know the sanction option is on the table. And then if they didn't step in and start doing this stuff for some of the reasons, like Tom was saying about knocking them down a few things, it's really because Israel would go and nuke everybody with nukes that they're not supposed to have.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Yeah.
heard that before? What I just said. Have you ever heard any of that before?
I've heard, and again, it was just a different title. Like we have like, we'll go mad, MAD, mutually assured destruction. So if we're gonna lose, everybody's gonna lose. We hit the button and we just try to obliterate everybody. But it's kind of the same theory, just I guess worded differently, coming from a different branch of the military or whatever it is. But I mean, yeah, the theory is not a new theory. To know that there's nukes and submarines that aren't supposed to be there, that are kind of like an unknown, hidden, like, card up the sleeve, is new information. Not
That
surprised at all, but I mean,
why I ask you in particular, not to like put you on the spot or anything, but like I know that you yourself may not be aware of this and on some of the levels that I was just trying to explain, which translates to the people that are watching that may not be aware of some of these. The Samson option goes, it's biblical. This is from way back whenever oh wait, here, look, Samson knocked down the temple pillars
Yeah.
because
He
they
basically
would,
killed everybody, himself included. Yeah.
right, exactly. Thank you, Q. This
it's really evil because if everybody was your enemy and you were the only decent nation and you said, all right, we got to take everybody out. But there's a lot of other innocent nations who never get involved in these wars and have no conflicts. So for them to just say we're going to nuke everybody in case we lose indiscriminately is kind of like, well, that's really fucking evil to even have that mentality.
Yeah. I would like to
Yeah.
Just talk about at 7-Eleven Lucas comment here. He says, I'm not thinking about how many drones Iran makes. And that's, I am. And that's kind of the point of what's going on right now. We're destroying all those facilities. We're taking down their drones, or at least what needs to happen, and what I hope is happening. I can only speak, who knows what the propaganda is, but yeah, I think what regionally needs to happen to Iran as a Mohammedan country is you need to destroy all those facilities making the drones, destroy all the drones they got in storage, destroy all the facilities where they're making, because they not only make drones, but they make missiles at a ridiculous rate. Like Iran makes more missiles per day than most countries make in a year. Like it's ridiculous the amount of missiles they make along with drones. But
So this is. Go
we're
ahead. I'm
dropping our
sorry.
good stuff on them right now. A lot of it looks like, at least. And again, who knows? Because it's fog of war. I don't know. You don't know how much of this you can trust and how much you can't. But at least what it looks like is we're dropping the good stuff on the stuff that the bunker busters, the penetrating stuff that's getting deep and destroying a lot of this stockpile. Hopefully that's what's happening.
So
And that,
this
so
you're not wrong, and I think what you're saying, Tom. I think that there's there's a there's a major bump in this, in that not only are we now using up all these munitions here, but we've been using them in Ukraine.
yeah,
So
we're
like
running out. Yes.
we do not have an endless supply. And from the
Oh,
numbers that I've heard, it's like they have like 4,000 missiles left. The US military. And here's the kicker. This goes along with everything. We don't make anything here anymore. And who's Iran siding with? Who's Ukraine siding against? Russia and China.
China.
Who
Yeah.
makes most of our shit, right? Like,
Taiwan.
where are we getting the gunpowder for bullets? Just that. It comes
Yeah.
from China. It comes
Yeah.
from China. So it's a bigger picture than just Iran, right?
Right.
Like, Iran is another, like, this is another problem. Um, and it's even more of a bigger problem because we, just the idea that like we have to do this so that Israel doesn't nuke them, which I'm telling you, that's the reason. Uh, but that's what the problem is. They have expansionist goals and they're trying to achieve those goals. And if they're not allowed to achieve them, they will push the button. That's what this is really boils down to. And the problem is at our expense. We are using all of our military might as we speak to the craziest ends that you can imagine, like that we are now in a detriment. And where we would get refueled, where we would get more ammo, where we would get stuff made, where we would get the pieces for the things that we need is not even in this country. It's in the countries that are siding with the people that we are dropping the bombs on. So like this is like it's a bigger there's a bigger equation here more than just the Mohammedans are assholes and so we should stop them. Like that's probably fair, but at the same time we're shooting ourselves in the foot to try to stop a bigger problem that's not going to be stoppable. And I was going to save this just for whatever it's worth. David from NDS is coming on Friday at 4 o'clock. That's going to be a hell of a show. But I was saving some of this just in case we touched on it then. But I mean, this idea is bigger and it's going to be more impactful because of the progress that we've been working this up to. This thing isn't just this one thing. This is centuries. This is decades of
Oh yeah.
this madness, and we're going to feel the brunt of it. And it comes back to me always saying have a backup plan, right? We're going to feel the brunt of this, not the other people that are making the calls in Washington and all the government facilities and all the people that are just okay with it because it potentially lines their pockets and because it's a means to an end for most of them. So the problem really is that nobody's really prepared in the United States for what most likely, possibly, let's pray it doesn't, come next. Because what comes next is there's going to be less stuff and we're not going to have the ability to fight wars. That's where this is going. Like they don't have the ability to rearmament.
Right.
That's what I'm getting at. Like the United States military is getting to the point because of how thin we are, how we've been fighting a war for years in Ukraine at our own expense. And now this. And where we get to refuel, where we get to reload, where we get our supplies is siding with siding with the places that we're bombing. This is not a good thing. And I just wanted to put that out there.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. It's not a good thing. I spent half the show talking about how I'm preparing for the worst, knowing I know what's coming. That's why I went out and bought, that's why I'm spending money right now. I know what's coming. It's just that, I guess the silver lining of my life, as life is going to start sucking soon for everybody, is the Mohammedans are having a shitty time too. You know what I mean?
Let's share that around. Yeah,
it's just a silver lining that the Mohammedans are getting fucked too. Like I know how fucked we're going to be soon. I think people watching, certain people think I'm like, oh no, we're America, we're going to kick ass. Like no, we're not. Like I agree with everything you just said, but also like until we run out of weapons, we are going to dominate, and then it's going to suck. You know what I mean? Because we haven't been rebuilding our weapons at all. We've been giving them to Ukraine, we're dropping them here. We've been doing everything. We've been doing everything but replenish them. Is what we've been doing.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Yes, we are doing great right now, but it's not going to last. And all it's going to take is for one other power to step in. If China or Russia were actually step in on Iran's behalf and start launching counteroffensives for them, this is a different story. You know what I mean? Like it's a
Yeah.
completely different story.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
I just wanted to try and make that point. And it's just, again, I tried to explain this to other, I see things as sort of like we're on this path, right? Like we're on this set of tracks. And there's off ramps. There is off ramps. It doesn't mean what I'm projecting is inevitable. It just means that where we're heading right now in this moment is not a good thing. And we need to find where that off ramp's going to be, because the potential for how bad things get for us is very high whenever you're not considering that, like, just like we were talking about earlier. What about the people in New York where they can't take a day without ice, right? Like, that's the biggest threat, actually, whenever things are not good, is the people that are completely underprepared, are not expecting it, and feel entitled to all these things that they have now. So I mean, I'm just saying, there's a bigger picture. It's not great, and have a fucking backup plan of some kind. Just whatever that might be for you individually. Realize that, like, our resources have been stretched so thin
yeah,
because of this, that, like, it's not it's not going to be able to keep going.
Yeah, it's not sustainable long term. But I
no,
mean, hopefully, knock wood. Pray to the Lord that something gives, and we find a way back from the brink before it gets there, which we have done in the past. But you can't always expect that to happen. You have to expect for things not to bounce back. We're not in any kind of relative time. And if you're wrong and things do, then great. You prepared for nothing. Better to feel like you prepared for nothing than you didn't prepare at all, and there's something that you should have prepared for, and you're kicking yourself in the ass.
yeah,
Who
yeah.
was that?
Hey, Emily,
Some
bring me down my pouches. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Tell my wife to bring down
Q
my
said I
pouches.
didn't even see a Rumble rant. Hold on. I apologize if somebody did. No, but I mean, I'm just saying that I don't think everybody is taking into consideration what's happening.
Oh, the amount of things that can possibly go wrong here are, you know what I mean, innumerable. Innumerable. Anything can happen here within any minute. You know what I mean? Like at any minute, things. This country, that country, these people, they can. Anybody can do whatever they want, and it could dramatically change things. But I don't know. I'm just along for the ride, bud.
Yeah. The same way, just sort of riding the waves in a way, right? Like, because
Yeah.
what else can you actually do?
Thank you, dear. You know what I think the funniest thing about this whole Persia thing is though, the fact that Carney, Canada's PM, felt the need to throw a press conference to talk about how he can't believe the U.S. didn't consult him before we went in and did this. Like, bud, like who the fuck do you think you are, man?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, you're the little brother. You don't get to call any
no,
shots, dude.
no, you don't get to do anything, bud. You don't even have an army.
Yeah.
Just wanted to
Q,
feel
I apologize, brother. I didn't see this. I'm not the one for war, but if we're gonna do it, I say they're brown, gun them down. Israel's included.
Yeah, why
All
not?
right. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
the Mohammedans
Thank you, bro.
and the
Thank you.
tiny hat people can both, you know what I mean, suck a dick. I don't.
I don't, I mean, honestly, I just, like I said, I don't get, I'm always the guy where I'm like, I know it sounds like doom and gloom. It pisses me off as much as it probably does when everybody hears me constantly harping on it. But like, this is just the reality of the situation. Like we're in a bad spot, and I don't think anybody has really understood it. And good for you if you just choose to ignore it. But I mean, there's consequences to that.
Yeah.
Just ignoring it outright and pretending like it's not happening, there's going to be consequences for it.
So there's a difference between ignoring it and not responding while quietly preparing, and I think
Yes.
people need to do the latter. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
You can ignore what's going on over there, as in it doesn't matter to me what happens to Iran, and I don't really give a shit if this happens but like ultimately you still need to prepare for what's coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't
Yeah.
care, but I'm still preparing for what's coming.
The sad reality it doesn't even have to be war. It could be a storm. It could be natural disasters. There's so
Yeah.
many there's so many ways for shit to go awry real quick.
We have been neglecting this infrastructure in this country for so many years, and it's not just the roads; it's the power, it's the power grid, it's the
Started.
sewage, it's the sewage treatment plants, it's the water pipes, it's the what I mean, like everything in this. Like it doesn't take much anymore for this country. It won't take much. One, like you said, one natural disaster too many. Or it might not even take that. It could be a bright sunny day one day when something catastrophic fails because we did not maintain it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good point, and I guess it's just ritual now that it comes up on every show. But I work directly for a power distribution company, and I'm telling you how fragile that fucking system is. You have
Yeah.
no idea. Whatever you think, it's worse. However bad you think it is, it's worse. That's what I'm trying to relay about
Yeah.
always just having a backup plan. And one more thing, I mentioned this in the past. A buddy of mine works for a city water treatment plant. It's not the sewage water; it's water treatment plant. But they were attacked. They were cyber attacked.
Yeah.
Homeland Security was there. He called me. I was like, "You got to come on the show." He was like, "I just don't want to get in trouble at work." He was like, "You can tell people though. They were trying to hack the water treatment plant. Um, it was severe enough that Homeland Security was there, the FBI was there, and now they have to have like these escorts to go into certain places, and everybody has a reader card to get in, and there's gates installed now. It's these things are happening, is my point, and like just people are just kind of oblivious to it. So, I mean, I get that like you wouldn't know that, but I mean, what are we seeing right now, dude? Like, I mean, it's one of those things. Like, come on, man, think ahead a little bit, please, because
Yeah.
again, you're a liability for people that have stuff when you don't have stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many of my New York City friends over the last 15, 20 years of knowing me and how I am. And I'm not the typical New Yorker. And they don't like when something would happen, like with the storm or some kind of scare. And they'd always tell me, oh, something happens. I'm coming to you. I'm running down to you. And, I'm going to bunker down with you. And I'm like, no, no, you're not. No, fuck no. What are you bringing to the table? Other than your unprepared ass that you didn't do anything to prepare, you're going to show up with some cash in your hand that I can't use. Like, what are you going to contribute? And it's sad that that's the people. The mentality of the people is like when they get scared because they see something, then they want to like, oh wow, who do I know who has resources that I can buddy up with? And it's always the people who are not prepared at all that
Yeah.
say
People think
that
they're
to
going to
me, and
show
I'm
up.
like,
Yeah. People
I
think they're
love
going to
you.
show up with nothing, and you're just going to all of a sudden take care of them. Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah, I mean, there's like one or two people who I love dearly that I'm very close with that I would allow, and I'd find the use for them. Like, okay, hey, like you're the one who's gonna go run out and do this. You're gonna be my service dog, pretty
Uh,
much if you're gonna live off my resources. But yeah, in general, it's like, no, don't ring my bell. It won't be a friendly. It won't be a friendly encounter.
yeah.
Brooklyn,
Do you want
I
to
don't know,
say?
man.
yeah, Brooklyn, New York,
I love.
Gravesend down near Coney Island.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. But I've I've been training for my whole life. It's
Yeah. Well, I
I'm a
mean,
former Army Ranger, bud. Like I know what I'm fucking doing. It's not, you know what I mean. Like I'm just quietly stacking my shit in the back, and when it's time to use it, it's time to use it.
but here's in part. Let me show you something. How I kind of in part prepare. That is an apple tree.
That looks like a pot plant to me.
No, 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 no. Don't start no shit. Um, but my point is like this is thinking ahead, right? These seeds came from one of my apple trees that I'm planting so that I can grow more apples. This is what I'm talking about thinking ahead. I'm not saying that we have to arm up and shoot everybody. I'm saying become self sufficient. Learn how to grow things, learn how to feed yourself, learn how to do without certain things if you need to, and you know, learn how to grow, man. Like what's that saying about the guy that plants the tree that he'll never
Never
yeah,
sit.
right.
Yeah, I'll never sit
Sit
under the
under the
shade.
shade out of, right?
Yeah.
Right? That's that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I mean. Like that this is the idea, right? Like build, learn, um, think about more than just yourself and today. And do better, do better. Like my I don't know if I'll ever be able to eat an apple from that tree, but I'm hoping somebody will, right?
Yeah.
Because that's just where I'm at today, dude. Like this is the process for me whenever shit like this is coming downhill, and I've said this for years, is like get get ready just in case, but it's not about like arming up. It can be for some people, but I mean, it's not about that. It's about, can you feed yourself? Can you take care of yourself? Can
That's
do
what it
you
comes down to. It's not about
what
arming up because you can't carry, you can stockpile thousands of rounds of ammunition at your house, but when shit hits the fan and you got to move, you can't move all that stuff. You're gonna pick a gun, you're gonna pick as much ammo as you can carry, but it ain't gonna be that much, and some other things, and you're gonna have to go. And
yeah.
what I tell people, and it's great. Don't get me wrong, like plant trees, homestead, farm, absolutely. But you need to learn how to hunt and fish because you need protein and fat to survive. Especially if you live in a northern state where it gets cold, you need protein, you need fat.
Yeah.
So I really advise, if you don't hunt or fish, learn one of them because what you'll
Goats?
survive.
I
Yeah,
have
yeah. I mean, like
goats
if
that are.
you farmstead, you have animals you can raise and breed.
Yep.
Pigs are really good for that. If you're looking to survive an apocalypse, get some pigs. Um, they breed fast, they fatten up fast, they turn over really quickly. Um,
Something about pigs, I don't know. I don't even like eating pork,
I
but
agree with you. I'd prefer not to, but if you're trying to survive
oh
and you're
right.
living in a northern state like Pennsylvania, you're going to need
Yeah.
a lot of that fat. You're going to need all
Yeah.
that protein. Pigs
Yeah.
are the easiest way to turn over fat and protein. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Cows take a whole lot longer to fatten up, to go from birth to I'm ready to eat. Pigs at a year. You know what I mean? It doesn't take long. They have big litters and they fatten up fast.
Not a bad idea. I was thinking goats and sheep. Like I was thinking sheep. Maybe I have to open up more land. But I was thinking sheep maybe because from what I hear is sheep can also reproduce pretty quickly. You get one or two a year from one female.
Yeah, sheep
Um,
get about two a year, but sheep are fragile, man. Sheep will just die for no reason. The problem with sheep is they're just, man, they get every disease known to man, and they hurt themselves too easily. And sheep are tough. Uh,
sheep are dumb.
yeah,
Emily
sheep are
says.
dumb.
I guess that's why
Well,
they
wait for
they
those. Yeah,
call the stupid people sheep, right?
yes.
Lead the lambs to slaughter. Um, So I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I don't want to make it all sound like doom and gloom, because I have a tendency to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly though, like that's just what I'm trying to get at, is that realize the situation that we're potentially in
Yep.
and hedge your bets against it. Like it doesn't have to be the end of the world. It really doesn't. Um, it can get bad if you ignore it, which I think a lot of people are doing. It can get bad if you don't understand what's happening, because on a whole other level, this is a spiritual thing. This is a spiritual thing. Like there's a lot more at play than just the politics and everything else that's going on. I mean, again, this is like, I don't want to harp on anything, but like, well, let me put it this way, Tom. Do you think this is a spiritual thing?
Yes.
How do you relate it to a spiritual thing? I'm very interested to see if we're on the same page.
Well, I mean, first of all, for God to have allowed Israel back into that land after 2,000 years is significant, to say the least. And I think what I think it signals is the time of the Gentiles is over, and we are nearing very much the now. Is God's time, so the end could be 100 years, could be another 500 years, it could be 10 years. I don't know, but like something changed in 1967, 68, 69. Like not only did the Jews re-enter the Holy Land and take Jerusalem back as a Jewish city, the Catholic Church had Vatican II, which kind of more or less told the church, like, we're done evangelizing to the world. We're done. We're done converting the pagan world. For good or bad, I don't think I don't think they realize that's what they're doing when they did it. But like, it's it's substantial. It means something. The fact that the Jews are back in Israel means something. You know what I mean? Now it's not this evangelical dispensationalist we're about to all be raptured. Like if you think there's a rapture and you're not going to have to suffer, then you obviously have never read the Bible. It's like that's 90% of it is suffering. But yeah, man, it's a spiritual war we're in at this point right now. Something is coming, whether it's a grand chastisement for Christendom turning its back on God. You know, America apparently used to be a Christian nation according to some. It is not. All of Europe used to be Christian. It is not anymore. You know, all the Eastern Christian lands are now Muslim. You know, something's happening spiritually, biblically, and I don't want to sit there and be like, I know it's coming. It's the end of the world. We're all going to go in 5 years. Like I'm not getting that bold with it, but like something's happening spiritually,
Yes.
in the biblical timeline.
Yes. I some notes at the very top. It says something is happening.
Yeah. It's like,
Uh,
now in Corinthians, it talks of Jesus even spoke about the time of the Gentile. When the time of the Gentile ends, that's when the end time starts to trigger, and that's when they focus on the Jews realizing that they missed a Messiah and coming, and some of them will, and some of them won't. But once the the Bible says once the fullness of the Gentiles have entered, then it comes back to the Jews, and like those of you that will come in will, and those of you that won't. I'm obviously simplifying it a whole lot and paraphrasing and whatnot, but it's yes. So I honestly believe we are at the end. We've already hit the end of the time of the Gentiles. So we're on borrowed time at this point. Now, borrowed time on God's time, who knows? You know what I mean? Like it could be another 100 years, 200 years. I don't know, but yeah, something is happening on the biblical timeline.
so this is a great. I'm glad. I'm honestly happy that you're thinking at least in the same realm as me, because that's sort of where I'm at with it as well. Is that there's something is happening, and when I look kind of deeply to the players that are seem like they're pushing it, so they want the Mashiach to come back, the Jewish people, right?
Yeah.
And my belief right now is that they're trying to manufacture prophecy, because that's not to say because God is on his own timeline. We don't get to decide. But that doesn't mean that it isn't God's will as well. This is just perspective from what I'm seeing. Is it seems as if they're trying to manufacture that prophecy. And if you look deeply into what the Jewish people believe, and I'm only bringing it up considering that they're at the center of this.
It's always the Jews at the center of it. Yeah, you can
Every
guarantee
single time.
I'm going to pause you for 1 second.
Yeah.
EMP 1990, I need you down here for a second. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You got to get them.
I just told her I need her down here. I need her to refill my
Pouch.
glass with ice so I can get more bourbon.
Did you get the pouches?
Yes, she brought the pouches already.
Oh, okay.
Now
okay.
I'm out of ice and I need more bourbon.
what bourbon are you drinking right now?
Well, geez, I got. Let's see. So far tonight, I've had some Eagle Rare 10. I've had some Heaven Hill Grain to Glass. I've had some Weller Special Reserve, and I've had some Woodford Reserve Double Oak. And I think next I'm going for the Old Forester 100 proof.
I could never.
I like to drink. I don't like to just sit there and drink the same. I don't know. They all have different flavors and different things that I like. So I just pour a little bit of this one, a little bit of that one, a little bit of that one.
Yeah. I was never a big bourbon drinker, but even when I did, I tried not to mix anything too much. I guess if it's just bourbon, it's not going to be that bad.
Bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I either drink bourbon or scotch, but I these days I much prefer bourbon over scotch. I don't know when that switched. When I was younger, I always drank scotch, and now it's just bourbon now. It's weird.
I used to be the type where it was like, how much do you have? And that's what I'm drinking. How much do you want? All of it? And what is it? I don't care. Like is there alcohol in it? That's all that mattered. I didn't drink any alcohol for flavor. I'm glad that some people actually do, because I was reckless. Like it didn't matter what it was. It was going down the hatch.
I drink a little, half ounce of each kind. Like I'm not here to get drunk. I just sit here because I like to taste bourbon. I very rarely drink and get drunk.
I don't wake up that monster for that reason. I haven't drank in a very long time. I think I'm 15 years or so now, but it's all of it. Whatever it is, all of it. all of it. I don't care if I remember it. That's why I stopped, because it was like all of it. There would be no if I was trying to do what you were doing, there would be no full bottles behind me, and I'd be screaming something, slurs or something while I was on camera. But my point is just this. So here's what I want to say. Oh, what's up? Hey, hold on. Let me get.
Full screen.
Yeah,
There's baby Maria.
Maria.
Hi, Maria.
Ah,
Hey, baby.
that's awesome.
Yeah, newborn baby Maria.
Ah,
How
beautiful.
many
Little
how many weeks is it now?
She's 2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks.
Wow.
Damn, bub.
Yeah.
Damn.
Just starting her life. Wow. So
Yeah.
proud.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
And this is the
Outstanding.
reason why I've been out buying more hunting rifles and more
Yeah.
fishing gear, and like I'm ready. You know what I mean?
Yep. Amen.
Yeah.
Because ain't nothing
That's
gonna
the
stop
best.
me from providing for this little one.
Hey, Jimmy, what's up, buddy?
I already went and spent my time fighting the country's wars when I was 18 to 24. It's time to fight the wars for my family.
Yep.
See, listen, Q brought up a point. I didn't mean it like the baby. I meant it like time. Like how many weeks is it as in time, Jaguar?
Yeah, I knew what he was saying. He was just trying to start trouble because he's cute.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, he is. Well, I mean,
'Cause
that's a hell of a blessing, though, dude.
Because he starts trouble.
Don't start that they them shit.
Yeah.
It.
But that said, I did have. See, here's the thing. We touched on something that I think I might bring up when David comes on, which again, I'm really excited about this one. David from Nephilim Death Squad is going to be on the show on Friday at 4 o'clock. Not quite sure how long we're going to get him for, but hopefully at least an hour. And I think we're going to have some fun with that. But the notes that I was just referring to was primarily in part for me to bring up some things. And it's funny that Tom was very much on the same page with what I was thinking about. Something is happening. I'm not sure if it's God's hand at play or somebody trying to force a prophecy. And I think that's the ultimate question, is that
Well, the Jews. So there is messianic fever in Israel right now, like there was during the time of Christ. Like I don't know if people really understand the messianic fever right now because they have made it back to their homeland. The Jews have a carnal reading of the scriptures. They think that all the prophecies regarding the Jesus refer to the Jewish people. The Jewish people will reign with an iron rod from the throne of Jerusalem. You know what I mean? Like, so they're trying to force the hand of God into fulfilling these prophecies. And then the Jewish people will rule the world is how they see it. Because they have a carnal reading.
Yes.
They don't have a spiritual reading of the scriptures. So yes, they're very much trying to fulfill prophecy. But even though that's what they're doing, I still believe this is a notch on the biblical timeline, not the human timeline. There's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like there's notches, on the biblical timeline of everything from Adam and Eve to Noah to Abraham to Jesus to the apostles, and then even miracles and apparitions that have happened since the time of Jesus. There's tick marks on the biblical timeline, if you will, and this is one of those. I really feel it is.
I think it's
And
entirely.
Yes, the Jews are trying to force the fruition of prophecy, but they absolutely are. The problem is they're doing it because of their wrong interpretation of prophecy, which is actually fulfilling different prophecy.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually tried to explain that to people that don't quite understand, because you hear the term Judeo-Christian, which is like, that's backwards. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's not really a thing. I don't even know how people ever bought into that. But ultimately, the reason, like you said, Tom, that they want their Mashiach to come back, which I believe is the correct term, Mashiach.
Yes.
It's their Messiah, their God, their quote unquote Jesus. And if you don't know, the Jews believe Jesus is boiling in excrement in hell. So that's why I don't know where the term Judeo-Christian even comes from, because that's how they see Christ.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at Lucas here. You can't be drinking with children in your home.
I guess.
Now I know he's just trying to fuck with me. Like,
Yeah, I think he's fucking with you.
he's been fucking me the whole time. I know it. I'm laughing about it. That was a good one. That one That one got me, bud. You're good.
But I mean, the point of me saying that is because they when they get this, what they're hoping for is because they ultimately think that they're going to rule the world on as the right hand of the Mashiach. That's what they
Yeah.
believe. That's why they want it. Like that's what it is. Um, so I mean, like you have to understand that to understand any of this. Yeah, I can't. I think he was fucking with you. To
No, no, I
understand
know. I know
any
who
of
that is.
this,
I'm pretty sure I know who that is. So it's either
um,
way.
so I mean,
I
it's an important context. Again, is that
yes,
people don't quite understand what they're shooting for when they're trying to pull this off.
yes,
Ultimately, everybody, the goyim. Again, this is a new word to some people that they didn't know before. The goyim are going to be their slaves, and they're going to try to get rid a lot of goyim, which is also in their writings, along this process. And the ones that are left over are going to be the good goyim, the ones that will serve them, while they sit at the right hand of God. Now, this is the interesting part. How many people actually know that that's what the end goal is for these people? Because
yeah,
I
and it
can
actually
guarantee you many don't.
it actually goes a little deeper than that too. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this theology or not. But so I mean, and it's more. It's not just the Goyim. It's more specifically Christians at this point too that the Jews hate. Like I mean, there's been many of Jewish people on many a podcast that have been asked the same question. They all answered identical. If you could get rid of Muslims or Catholics, which one would it be? And it's always Catholics. Instant, no thought, no hesitation. Instantly, oh, Catholics. And it goes down to the enmity between the big brother and the little brother. So technically, the Jews and the Christians, the Jews would be the big brother, Christians would be the little brother, if you look at it in that way. And if you look at the whole Old Testament of the Bible is full of the enmity between the older brother and the younger brother, Cain and Abel,
So, Jacob
Jacob
and
and
Esau.
Esau. Yeah, I mean it's the whole story of the Bible is the prodigal son. How the one brother went away, squandered his fortune, came back, and the father accepted him, and the other son was like, you didn't slaughter the fattened calf for me. You did, it comes down to enmity between the bigger and the older and the younger brother, and it plays out through all of history up until today. That enmity between the older and the younger brother being a symbolism for the Jews and the Christians. And
This is
so
true.
so I mean it's obvious um,
Well,
that the
I mean,
Jews
because
want to get rid of the Christians.
here's the important part,
So,
Tom, is
so
that, like,
where do Muslims fall in that fold? Like the disgruntled cousin?
Yeah, the Muslims are different. They came along 700 years later. The Muslims don't really fall into it at all. They're just a tool of Satan. Now, technically, the Arab people would be the descendants of, um,
them.
Abraham's other son that he had with the slave. And a lot of people like to say, "Oh, well, that's the Muslim people," but it's not. Those were Arabs, and a lot of those Arabs were Christians. Before Muhammad came along in the year like 700 or whatever it was. It was hundreds of years later that Muslims even became a thing. And Muhammad was like 5, 6, 700 years after Christ. I don't remember. Ishmael, thank you, babe.
Ishmael, good call.
Yes, thank you, babe. Ishmael. Um, the Muslims don't really play a part in this at all. That's another one of these demonic cults that just came. So for people to say that Ishmael is Muslims is incorrect. He's the father of the Arab people, and there are many, many, many Arab Christians. In fact, there were a majority Arab Christians before Muhammad came along and started slaughtering them and forcing people to convert. And a lot of them died martyrs, and the ones that were didn't have the faith converted. But yeah, but yes, the enmity between the older and the younger brother is a thing, and it is part of this this biblical timeline that's playing out, and it's very well documented in the Old Testament. And I, along with many theologians, believe that all those stories of the older and younger brother are in the Old Testament are referring to Christians and Jews, and how the older brother was jealous and the younger brother prevailed essentially, and in prevailing, like Jacob, and his brother sold him off as a slave to Egypt, and then when he came back as the prince, he did not arrest them, he did not have them killed, he welcomed them back because that's what the younger brother does. The younger brother shows the love, and the older brother tries to destroy the younger brother, and that's the story of the Jews and Christians.
For context, this is why this is important. And I just feel like I hate when I have to do this, but in the world we live in, it's almost necessary. But Me bringing any of this up is not Jew hatred. That's
No,
not
no,
what this
no.
is.
I
It's
understand what you're
just
saying. Yeah.
me stating the facts, and it doesn't matter if you believe anything that I said. It's that I'm telling you what they believe and what they're doing. This is their motivation. This is what they believe. And this is why they're doing what they're doing. And they believe it more deeply than you can even imagine. And that's why, this is why. This is the point I'm trying to make is that it doesn't, it's just like anything else. It doesn't matter if you think it's valid. It doesn't matter if you think that it's right. It's their motivation that they do deeply, deeply do believe that everything that we were talking about and even more in depth than that, because you can, I'll save you guys, but like there's even more like when they start talking about Amalek and like that they have to destroy Rome. And who do they think Rome is now, which is America? So how are they our allies? Like Netanyahu has come out and said America is the new Rome, and then in the next sentence say how they need to destroy the Rome, how they need to destroy Rome, and that goes back to Rome destroying the temple. This is how deeply they follow this. They
So
didn't forget. They believe it 1,000%, and they're trying to push this through. That's why this context is important for people that don't know and they don't understand. This is the problem. This is the thing. This is why if you don't get this, you don't understand their motivation. Go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry.
oh no, no, you're 100% correct. But I was just going to add, America in the Jewish eyes is the new Rome. There's technically two Romes to the Jews because the Catholic Church is also Rome to the Jews. It historically has been, and then America came along and kind of, even though it's not a Catholic country, never was. It's become the empire, and the Catholic Church is the Rome that destroyed them, because literally the Rome that destroyed them converted to Christianity and became the Catholic Church. Literally, it's the continuation, if you will, of Rome. So it's yes, America. They do want to destroy America in the end because they can't have a superpower greater than them, that is America, at the end of the day, if they're going to rule the world, right? But they also can't rule the world until they destroy the Catholic Church with America. So it's like a double side. You know what I mean? It's a double front war, if you will.
It's almost
Yes.
like keep the most powerful ally you have, tag team together, wipe everybody else out with the plan of taking them out once all the other opposition's gone.
I mean, they've already kind of taken us out to begin with. They've neutered us. I mean, like we've already
Yes.
talked about. The only reason we're doing anything we're doing right now in Persia is because the Jews told us to, and our country has already openly admitted to that.
Literally
So
tell you that they hate you and
yeah,
then have you fight their wars. Like that, this is where we're at because people don't understand this. And Q brings up a good point. He just commented Jesuits. There's very much complex parts to this,
yeah,
about how the infiltration of our society actually happened. There's people that masquerade as Jews too, because it's also a liability shield. Like you can't criticize them. Like we have to have this caveat where I go, it's not about the Jews. Like this, they use it as a liability shield. There's some people that claim to be Jews, like Netanyahu. That was fucking. He grew up in Philly. That's not his name, by the way. He changed it in case
yeah,
anybody doesn't know. That's not his real name. He changed it to sound more Jewish.
yeah.
He actually grew up in Philadelphia. He spent a lot of time in Eastern Europe, and now he's the fucking
Well,
prime minister of Israel and claims to be Jewish.
well,
So
pretty much all modern Jews are from Eastern Europe now.
yeah, right. I mean, they were scattered, so I can give them that. Is that like they were
Yeah, yeah.
scattered? But I mean, the
But the
point is
Ashkenazi were 8th century converts to Judaism, and
yeah,
95% of Jews these days are Ashkenazi. They are those converts
yeah,
because a lot
yeah.
of the
So
original Semites either converted to Christianity or were scattered, and their blood so intermingled that it doesn't matter anymore.
right, right. And also the Khazarian mafia, which is
Yeah,
another, you can get into some real gray areas. And I can only imagine because I almost can guarantee you that Drew has heard none of this at all. And so
I,
I can imagine his wheels are spinning like, what the fuck are they talking about?
I've heard some of it. I mean, again, it's like whispers here and there. As you were saying that, I was kind of thinking, as an example of like these world leaders, like Netanyahu, if I'm even saying his name right. I remember something, and this is an odd example and a obviously weird comparison. Hitler wasn't even German; he was Austrian, and he went to Germany and claimed he was German and didn't look anything like the master race he claimed, and he took over. So, I mean, it's not like a far-fetched thing to hear like an example of what you just said. You know, he's from Philly, and then he was in Eastern Europe, and now he's the prime minister of Israel. It's like, okay, yeah, like I've kind of
Yeah.
seen that in history where people identify and kind of change up. Like, it's not all that shocking.
Yeah, I will. There's two things I want to address. One is where you said the master race thing, and that's another one of those propaganda things about World War II, Hitler, and the whole master race. Well, you can take one look at Hitler, and the whole blonde hair, blue eyed master race thing falls apart real fast.
Completely.
But
What about Goebbels? Even worse.
yeah. But I want to talk about Q there, where you brought up his whole not all Catholics are Jesuits, but all Jesuits are Catholics. And a lot of people don't know this, but the Jews infiltrated the Catholic Church in the '60s. With the and they put out documents like Nostra Aetate, and they changed the mass, they changed all 7 sacraments, and this is all to the Jew. It started in 1955 when they got the church to change the Holy Week liturgy, the holiest of all things, the thing that could never be changed or touched. The Jews got that changed, and then 5 years later, all of a sudden we're holding a council, and now everything, the whole church has changed, and now it's all of a sudden, a lot of Jews or a lot of Catholics believe in this heresy called bicovenantal theology, where the Jews live under the old covenant, Christians live under the new covenant. We're all going to heaven. Like it's all nonsense. But yes,
shit.
Jews infiltrated the Catholic Church in the '60s, probably earlier than that. But they got their at Vatican II 65. They got all the stuff they wanted changed. But yeah, so the Catholic Church was infiltrated by the Jews, and the Jesuits are the worst of it. They are spouting all of the Jewish things. They know gay marriage and homosexuality and transgenderism. The Jesuits are on top of all of that shit. They're trying to change Catholic Church teaching on all of that. It's not happening. They're not getting very successful, but they're pushing it. And they're pushing it hard,
Yeah. Yep. I mean, why do you think there's transgender flags outside of fucking churches?
Yeah.
But I mean, here's the point though, is these little bits, these little tidbits, like the stuff you just pointed out and some of the other things that I said, it's like, this is essentially what gets missed by the populace as a whole. They don't know any of this, and the propaganda of that the Jewish people are always victims and they're always being persecuted. And this is why it's called a liability shield, is because you can't criticize them because somebody will bring that up. But it's not, again, I don't know why I have to keep saying this. It's just something that keeps popping in my head. We're not talking about every Jewish person. We're talking about the people that are responsible for moving these things forward, call themselves Jews. Some of them may not actually be Jewish, but they claim to be. So that's who we're talking about. And so like the context is that it's important to understand the motivation of the people that are doing this, or you could never fix this. There's no fixing this unless you can understand what the actual problem is. Like the people that are pulling the strings of the government are these people, and these are some of the many reasons. Ultimately, it's, in a nutshell, it's because they've been working on this for centuries, and they're moving it along a little bit at a time each year. The most popular rabbi will go to the most powerful Jewish politicians, and the first thing that he says to them, "What are you doing to bring back Moshiach?" That's the main thing. And that means the incremental steps of them getting to this, ultimately this point where they can bring back the Moshiach. This is what they've been doing for centuries. They've been trying to get to this point for centuries. And that's why it's always brought up. That's why they're always asked. That's why at the core, this is the motivation. There's a whole lot of other stuff. There's a lot of gray area, a lot of nuance, different factors, different organizations, different people. But ultimately, that's what it is. That's where they want to be. This is what they're trying to do.
Yeah. I get so much from, the problem is most modern day Christians and Catholics don't understand how much the Jews have infiltrated and changed their religion. Like as a Catholic, when I try to tell other Catholics, about this stuff like that, all 7 sacraments were changed in the '60s and all this stuff, I get freaked out on, what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh, you're not a real Catholic. Like, bud, look, I got a book right here from 1955. This is the prayer you say every day. This was omitted from it. This was omitted from it. This was omitted from it. Like the Jews went ahead and like basically redid everything. They infiltrated the church and they let them do it. So, and I try to explain to other Catholics, like, this is what your parents prayed and this is what you prayed. They're not the same thing. And like, I'm called all kinds of names for just trying to show you, like, hey, like, this is the truth.
So Tom, I have a question because I was actually talking to Stacks about this a couple of days ago. I'm looking to buy a Bible and take my time reading through it. Do you feel like there's a particular Bible I should get that is like predating any kind of manipulation on the level we're talking about?
I use a Douay Rheims Bible. The Douay Rheims Bible is a direct translation from the 4th century of the Septuagint, which is what the earliest Christians and then even the Jews, the Old Testament part, the Jews used. It predates the King James Bible by a couple decades, but it is the most accurate to the actual writings that the early church used.
And could you, because I have no idea how to even pronounce that. How if I want to do a search for that, how do I spell that?
Douyrems, I believe.
ENS or MS?
MS. M. Yeah.
Okay.
If you type that in, even if that's not exactly right, you'll get to the right thing.
Something similar will pop up. That will be the right
the
one.
Douay Rheims Bible is the original Bible. It was the one that was translated by Saint Jerome in the 4th century. That gave everybody the world the Bible. It is the Septuagint is what it is.
Cool.
No, Emily put it in the chat right there. RHEIMS. Yes.
Thank you, Emily.
Yeah, my wife always coming through in clutch. There you go.
She's on it. She's always on it.
Even with the baby in her arm.
I know, right? I know. Yeah, you landed a good one there, Tom. Good for you, buddy.
No, I did. I got lucky.
By the way, the spelling was way off.
No, it was. I've also had a whole bunch of bourbons.
Yeah.
So
you got it closer than I would have guessed.
The spelling then, Drew? You know what you see it?
Yeah, DOUAY-RHEIMS. Two words.
Yeah, and for whatever it's worth, that's pretty good advice too. Because I tend to think on the same level as far as like the more newer versions are probably going to be not translated as well or censored or manipulated. Then the further back you go, the more likely you are for it to be accurate.
So there's a couple verses that I use to determine whether a Bible is worth reading or not. I can't remember them off the top of my head. I have it written down. It's like 1st or 2nd Corinthians. And there's a verse basically where it says the sins that cry out to heaven are sodomy and yada yada, homosexual activity, stuff like that. And then in other ones they changed that to say like sex with male prostitutes, meaning like, if it's not a male prostitute, it's okay to have sex with other men. You know what I mean? Or like they changed the words to make it sound like it's okay to be gay and it's okay. There's certain verses, Luke 1-2 through whatever, where it's the angel of the Lord appears to Mary, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. You know what I mean? Like there's lots of them that change those words to make it not sound like the Hail Mary prayer in the Catholic religion. You know what I mean? Like to like, oh hey, you're some random woman that the Lord chose. You're just some random vessel. You know what I mean? Not like this holy mother of God woman. It's really weird that they do that. But yes, there's certain verses that I look in the Bible and I'm like, yeah, this is a crap translation. I ain't reading that. But I'll be honest with you, man. I don't even really read the Bible much anymore. I mean, I get readings at Mass, Catholic Church. There's 2 readings at Mass at the Latin Mass. There's 2 at the new Mass. There's 3. But either way, the way I look at it though is when Jesus ascended into heaven, he didn't leave a Bible. He didn't go up and a Bible came down in his place. And everybody opened it and started reading it. He left the church. He left his ministry. He left his apostles. He left the church. The church then 400 years later gave you that Bible off of letters that were written by the apostles plus the original Jewish transcripts of the Old Testament. So, if you want to get closer to God, I mean, reading the Bible is not a bad thing. I'm not saying it is, but he left you a church, the Catholic Church. Go to church. You know what I mean? Immerse yourself in the sacraments because that's what he left you.
Yeah.
And that's just my theory on it. There's just the Bible can be very confusing, especially to people that don't know the magisterium that well and the translations and how you should interpret certain readings. So some of it is very odd and it's very hard to like, what are they trying to say here? You know
You
what I
know, like
mean?
ominous quotes that like, how do I take it this way or take it that way? Like,
Yeah, and you know what? There's a million different Protestant pastors that will all tell you they're right, and they all have a different interpretation of it. And you know the church, the Catholic Church, and even the Orthodox, I'll throw in that because the Orthodox is one of the original churches. They have the proper apostolic succession, the proper magisterium. So like they have the proper interpretations of this stuff. They've had scholars going over this for millennia. They you know what I mean, and guided by the Holy Spirit. So, I mean, I'm not telling you don't read your Bible. Read your Bible, please. You know what I mean? But like, but to really, if you really want to save your soul, start going to church, bro. And
yeah,
I know
no,
you've told me
absolutely.
before you're Catholic, so just go to mass.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I
He
do.
goes.
I
He
do
goes.
weekly.
Good,
I usually call him when I'm on my way.
good.
I just want to do like in my life, and it's not going to be like a book like I know people covet it so much. Like if I could read through most of it, or at least in my life, just read through it and maybe highlight some scriptures that I understand and maybe mean
Yeah,
something, that'd be cool. But it's not going to be for me to like worship the Bible.
yeah.
But if I'm
You know
going
what
to
I
read
will?
one, I want to read the purest,
Yes,
untainted form.
yes, I agree with you there. But what I will tell you is when you get your Bible, and I hope it is a Douay Reams, spend a lot of time in the Psalms. The church is always taught to pray the Psalms. Read the Psalms, pray the Psalms. You know what I mean? Spend 20 minutes a night reading through, 109 through 115 are perfect for like a neat nightly reading. It's really good. It kind of really boils down the essence of some good stuff there. But yes, pray the Psalms. Don't just read the Psalms, pray the Psalms. If you understand
So
what I'm saying.
let me add something real quick for context because I don't think that you're wrong at all, Tom. But do you remember that movie, The Book of Eli?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it. Yes.
You know the importance of that was that there was one Bible left in the world, and some of the most evil, corrupt, however you want to put it, people wanted that Bible. And the reason why they wanted that Bible is because they wanted to take the Bible and use the verses in there out of context
Yep.
in order to say, this is the word of God, which would inevitably give them more power, right? So,
Which is
Subjugate what
exactly what the Jews did to modern day evangelicals.
so that's the point of like, so having a Bible and reading a Bible and understanding the context of it is extremely important. But that's also for what Tom is speaking to is like understanding what it's supposed to mean.
Yeah.
And not like through your, because like he said, like there's edits and then there's not edits, or there's versions that like when you take it out of context, you could use it to fit whatever sinful thing you want it, right? So
Yep.
I think it's basically, in my opinion, it's just a journey of uh, finding that the right way, because that movie really speaks loudly in that context that the Bible was that important that you could use the Word of God for your own benefit. And
Yeah.
that's why it's important to have the context along with the Bible and somebody to guide you in your understanding, and pray and get next to God and ask him for guidance as well. Like, so it's one piece of a whole is the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I have not seen that movie, but I'm so glad you brought that up, brother, because that is absolutely what is happening in the world today. Is everybody's grabbing the Bible, and you see this on the left all the time, misquoting scripture to prove their points about how the right, you know what I mean, like how we should be more accepting of gays and transgenders and Muslims, and it's like that's not what that means. You know what I mean? But they will use the word of God to try to convince you that it is. And the Jews did that to Protestants starting 100 years ago. And look where we're at now with the evangelical church, where they feel that they have to back every move Israel makes or they're not honoring God.
Yeah.
And that's the Jews have convinced Christians, a vast majority of them these days, that they have to back every single move Israel makes. Because if you don't bless Israel, then God will smite you, essentially.
Which is not in the Bible, by the way.
No, it's
That's
not.
not.
It's not anywhere in the Bible.
Yeah.
It was a very specific passage about Abraham himself and people interacting with him. And they took it to mean if you don't, and they convinced people that it meant all of Israel. And in modern day, that if you do not bow down to Israel, then God will turn his back on you.
That's a really good example of exactly what that book, the
Yeah.
Book of Eli's intent was. Is like, look at how many people they got to co-sign the madness of the government of Israel because they believe that that's the
Listen up.
Israel of the Bible. And it didn't even say Israel, it said Abraham. And then later interpretations were talking about the Hebrews, which then got changed to Israel.
Israel.
So you
It's
see,
really
like,
means Abraham, or it's
yeah,
actually Israel is actually Jacob, I believe. I'm trying to remember. Trying to remember whose name got changed to Israel. Either way, but yeah, it's talking about a person and a specific point in time too. It's not talking about today. But yes, it's. I've not seen that movie, but like I'm really glad you brought that up because that
Tom,
is
Tom,
absolutely what is
you
happening
got to
today.
watch the movie. Not only is it about religion, it's about preparedness because it's like kind of like a Mad Max utopian where water is scarce.
Yeah.
It touches on a lot, and I don't want to give away any plots, but there's a big irony twist at the end
yep.
that you don't see coming.
Okay. So
Uh,
wait, so it's the exact opposite of Waterworld. It's post-apocalyptic where water's scarce, not it's everywhere. All
yeah,
right.
it's kind of like deserty Mad Max, kind of like
All right.
somebody's got like a water spring, like whoever controls it, like holds power, kind of thing, and they want
It's definitely worth a watch. And that's something to watch with Emily if you haven't seen it yet, especially in that context. It's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I'll have to check that out because that's the world we live in right now. That is
it's
Do
got
you
exactly what we
violence,
live
it's
in right
got everything you need.
All
It's
right,
got
so we're coming really close to getting up on 2 hours here, and it's been great because I didn't even realize that much time's passed.
now. Oh, holy crap. Yeah, you're right.
I know. It's been fun, dude. Tom, I'm glad you came on. If you get bored at any other point and you feel like coming back on to bust it up, just let me know.
You just send me a message, bro, and I'll be here. I always enjoy these conversations. I love talking to you too. It's a good time.
Yeah, it is. It is. Do you want to add anything before we get out of here? Do you want to put anything in there?
No, read your Bibles, go to church, trust in God. It's a spiritual battle we're in. No politician is going to save you at this point. You can't vote your way out of this. Put your trust in God and be prepared. Just be prepared.
Standing. That was a good way to put it. Drew, you want to add anything at all?
after that. No, that's. I'm just gonna say amen to that. And if I had a cup, I'd toast to it.
Cheers.
All right.
Cheers, brother.
Well, I appreciate everybody for watching. Tom, thank you for coming. That was the shit show. You guys have a good night.